I forgot I took out the opening banner.
It's like that's kind of quiet. It's kind of quiet opening.
Slowly added in. And I was like, oh yeah, maybe I shouldn't wait for the thing to run. So we're going to go without our intro today. It's a great start to a wonderful show.
Just another advanced technology failing again on us.
Yeah. So here we are. It is December 18th, 2025. This is going to be our last show of the year, actually, because we're going to take the next 2 weeks off, being on Christmas Eve or Christmas and then New Year's. We're just not going to try to do a show and take some time off to recharge, probably paint the set, different colors.
Yeah.
Make it look good, work out a little bit, color our hair, spruce it up a little bit. So hopefully we'll entertain you enough tonight to last you for the rest of the year. And then we'll say Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. And then we'll be off for 2 weeks.
There's other shows in the queue that you can watch if you're lonely.
They're not as good as ours, but you can do it, I guess.
No, our old shows I'm talking about.
Oh, our old shows, yes. Those are as good. Yeah. All right. Well, shall we jump right in, Dave? What do you think?
Yeah, it's going to be another long one. So,
well, we're going to give you some news you might not have heard about, and we probably won't cover the stuff that you have heard about. A lot of stuff has been going on with, Rob Reiner and all that stuff. We're not going to cover that. There's really nothing to say about that. So we'll just go into stuff that you may not have heard about, which number one is private investment firms have completed their acquisition of Allete. The Duluth-based parent of Minnesota Power is now owned by two private investment firms, one of which is in turn owned by BlackRock Allete. The parent company of Minnesota Power and Superior Water, Light and Power is now owned by Canada Pension Plan Investment Board and BlackRock-owned Global Infrastructure Partners. So whether you wanted it or not, this has happened. And they've given them, I think the state has done this because they need to interfere with all businesses. Not saying that this is necessarily bad, but this is what they have required of them. So you ready for it?
Yeah.
They are pausing rate hikes for a whole year. So you've got 1 year, and then next year they're going to just hammer on.
Yeah.
Reducing its return on equity from 9.78 to 9.65, and then capping future return on investment at 9.78. So they're only going to be able to increase their return on investment 10% a year.
Correct.
So expect your prices to go up at least 10% a year.
Yeah.
Paying $50 million from CPP and GIP to customers in the form of bill credits by 2032. So $50 million in bill credits. They have to consider alternatives to its recent plan to bring another 750 megawatts of new natural gas energy capacity online, as it seeks to retire its last coal-fired units from the Boswell Energy Center in Cohasset. So they're still going forward with, even though coal has become a fairly clean energy to burn, they put all this money into it, all these filtration systems, and you can go to a coal plant, you won't even tell, but they're going to shut it down anyway. You know why? Because they don't know any better. This is what they know how to do.
Right.
They have to reconsider the proposed Nemadji Trail Energy Center natural gas power plant in Superior. They have to reconsider it. I would be pretty easy to agree to something like that. I'll reconsider it. Yeah.
I'll consider it. Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
I've considered it. It's not happening. They have to dedicate $50 million. This is the government stipulating how businesses have to spend money. Dedicate $50 million to fund new clean energy technologies. $10 million to fund energy efficient upgrades for low income customers. So they have to come up with $10 million for low income customers because it's daddy's job to take care of everybody. Right. And if you don't have enough money, well, we're going to do it for you. And we're going to pay for it with other people's money. So that $10 million isn't coming from the goodness of their hearts. It's going to come from the money they take from you that they're charging you. And you're going to see it very soon. And here's my favorite one, Dave. Forgiving up to $3 million in unpaid bills and providing $20 monthly bill credits to qualifying low-income customers. Again, we don't let the market decide the cost. We're going to make sure that we cover it. This is the government's job, apparently, is to take money from other people and give it to these guys. Not to say that I need low-income customers to have to pay another energy bill. The energy bills are going to be way too high, but it's up to us, I guess, to cover that cost. It's not reducing the cost, it's just covering it from other people. And again, that's going to come from our bills, the people that pay for it.
It sounds like forced socialism.
It is. That's exactly what it is. They're easing it in. Socialism is coming into this country in little bits and pieces, minimum wage laws, this kind of stuff, the Health Care Act, all this stuff. That's just socialism right there. It doesn't work in socialist countries. What we have to do is take a successful country, add that stuff into the country till you ruin it, and then start all over again because it's never implemented right the first time.
Yeah, that's the thing is socialism has been tried everywhere. It's failed everywhere. But let's try it in the U.S. because it's different here in the U.S.
Right. Yeah. Because it's going to work this time, dang it. We're going to do it right this time.
Yeah.
The next Duluth, I don't have a lot of Duluth news, but this next one is Duluth City Council tables the proposed rule changes. So there were going to be some rule changes, and this was proposed by the vice president. What's her name? I have it written down here. Marie Nephew, Lynn Marie Nephew. So she just got in as an at-large counselor. I actually ran against her in city council when I wasn't really trying. I just filed because it was like $30 to file. I didn't really do anything. And then I didn't win, but she ran then. And it was funny because after one of the forums, I saw her and Eric Forsman, who's also an at-large counselor, just like you could tell this was going to be a tag team right from there after that debate.
Yeah.
And sure enough, they're 1 and 2. He's right there with her. So, but she's been on for a couple of years and she's decided that, I don't really want to listen to people yak at the beginning of the meetings. So we're going to reduce it. The proposal was anyone wishing to address the council on any matter, they can do so at the beginning of the meeting. That's what it is right now.
Yep.
She proposed that this period of public comment be reserved exclusively for people wishing to address items at the council agenda for the evening, and then move all the other stuff at the end. Now, the reason they want to do this is because then they can leave. They don't have to be there. They can just adjourn it. They don't have to stay for any important part. Well, I have to leave now. Goodbye. So it's on top of this, we covered a story earlier in the year where they were making it harder for you to send emails to the city councilors. So you used to be able to send one and it went to all of them and all the news and everything. They cut that out too. So they're making it little by little harder and harder for you as the citizens to talk to the city council. Here's the problem, city council members. This is the job you signed up for. So suck it up. Listen to the people I want to talk. Sure, you're going to have some crazy people talking about nonsense, but that's the job. So do your job. And if you don't want to do your job, resign and let somebody else who wants to do the job be there. Because you have to listen. I know it's hard, but you have to listen to the citizens of the city and what they actually want. I mean, clearly you don't care about what they want. You won't do what they want, but you at least have to listen to them. Because you know what happens if you don't? You're going to bottle up all that anger and all that stuff they want to say, and it's going to come out in a different way, and you don't want that. So you've got to let these people talk a little bit. So what do you think, Dave? Counterpoint me.
Just like that video from the Duluth Monitor about the St. Louis County Board. He straight said right into the camera, I don't care what you think.
Right.
And that's what the Duluth City Council is coming down to.
Well, that was that same meeting too, was when they told everybody you're going to have a chance to talk. But what they didn't say was, if we allow it, if we pass a motion to talk. So somebody passed the motion, but nobody seconded it. Since nobody seconded it, they didn't talk. So they let these people sit through the whole meeting and then adjourned. And that's when the guy was up there talking. That's what he was talking about. It's like, what are you doing? Why didn't you second it? there's two guys sitting there. That's all you need to have this thing go through. They didn't do that.
Well, and it was no much different than the Hermantown City Council with the data center. Is they had all these people talking, and they voted without discussing it between them.
Right.
Discussing it between the city councilors, the pros and the cons of what the people wanted, and they never even talked to each other, and they just voted against what the people wanted.
If you're going to ignore the people, the least you can do is let them speak out so that they can say they did something, right? And let's see. The last one for the Duluth news is the mayor wants to move the library from downtown Duluth to over the hill on Rice Lake Road. And interesting that this is something that's being discussed with all the other problems, with the huge tax increase that's in Duluth, the county, all the money that we don't have. This is the priority, is to move the library from downtown to over the hill.
Right. And this would be by the that health center they built just near Arrowhead Road on the Rice Lake Road, because there's empty space in there, so they would lease it there. But the interesting thing that I noticed was this move comes as a response to the aging building repair needs, safety concerns, and increasing behavioral issues. Mm-hmm. Things that the city is supposed to take care of.
Things the city denies are happening, by the way.
Correct. So they're just, they're going to move it out of a bus line. So now they got to change the bus line to get the people who use the library up there. But there's a safety concern. There's a safety concern. And instead of fixing the safety concern, they're just going to move it.
Right. Well,
instead of fixing it.
What I question is, what do you want to put there, Mayor? What is leading this? This isn't something that's not top of everybody's mind. So what is it that you want in that place where the library is right now? That's the question that has to be answered. I don't believe that you're so concerned about the library and this is the top thing on your bid. I know that he wants St. Louis County to pay more money for the library because he feels that Duluth is overcharged for, providing service for everybody and not getting anything from the county. But that's not, this isn't going to help that, right?
No, because it still will be in Duluth city limits. Therefore, Hermantown, Proctor, and Rice Lake aren't going to be paying for it.
Right.
So it doesn't change anything. Now they're just going to drop, $50 million to move all the books up there and redo everything so it works up there. The true question is, why do you want the library gone? What do you want to put there? We already killed the Express, Northern Lights Express Railway or something like that. That's gone.
Did we?
Yeah. Right.
I don't know. It is a good question. So more to come on that as it pans out. But it seems like when Roger wants something, he gets it. So it will be interesting to see how long that lasts. And do they have the space? It makes it a lot more inconvenient for people downtown. It makes it more convenient for the people over the hill. There is no real library up there. There's a small library at where Bulldog Pizza is in Mount Royal.
Yeah, there used to be one farther up the hill too, off of Woodland Avenue, but I think they closed that down.
Yeah,
a bunch of decades ago.
So it'd be good for the Edison school kids, I guess. They'll get a nice library next to them. So
yeah,
we'll see. Yeah. I just found it interesting.
We'll put it right next to the data center that is so horrible in Hermantown. But Rice Lake or Duluth already has one. So, and Rice Lake will get one because the city council doesn't care what the people think there either. So, just like the Duluth City Council.
Well, it sure is interesting listening to the city council meetings. I was listening to it on the radio, and there was somebody going on and on about how we have to have civility and this is how you can talk and these are the things you're able to say and you can say it in this tone. It's so controlling of what there is this First Amendment right to free speech. You may not like what they have to say. If they're not coming at you, if they're not screaming at you, I mean, it matters if they're just off the hook and you can't make sense of it and they seem threatening. Other than that, you sit there, you listen, and you take it. That's your job as city councilor.
Exactly.
Don't talk about my tone. A lot of people are there because they're ticked off about something. That's just an unfortunate part of the job too. They're coming there. They're not there because they're happy and they're going to say, you guys are, wow, what a great job you're doing. Right? If they're happy, they don't show up. The only time they show up is when they're angry. So they're going to be ticked off. Let them talk and listen. The other thing, listen to what they have to say. You may not like it.
Something.
You might learn something. Yeah. Okay. Let's move on to Minnesota. Minnesota legislation. Minnesota State Rep Alex Falconer is operating a resistant network against ICE, which includes signal chats to alert illegal aliens about locations of ICE activity, free legal help to illegal aliens, that illegal foreigners in this country, reporting system to dox the ICE live actions, and to have illegal groceries delivered and move their cars for them so they don't have to leave their homes. So this guy is showing, number one, that he doesn't understand that these are laws that have been passed by the U.S. government, and they're just enforcing the laws.
Yeah.
And they're not, and if you disagree with the laws, I still haven't seen somebody articulate a good reason against the laws. Secondly, he's showing who his priority is. And it's not you, the Minnesota taxpayer, the person that he's representing. It's illegal aliens inside this country, people, foreigners that can come here, do what they want, get free housing, free food, free medical, and then go back home. They have a place to go back home. We don't have that.
Right.
We can't like locusts come into an area, strip it all of its good stuff, and then go back somewhere. That's what they can do. We don't get to do that. We have to stay here. And this isn't the only rep that's doing this either. There's a lot of them. It's scary.
Yeah, especially the Duluth News Tribune, Duluth rep, Alicia Klosowski. She's down in St. Paul. She got pepper sprayed, which she didn't. And if she did, then she probably deserved it, because the only pepper spray people that are in their way, that are disturbing the peace or stopping them from doing their job, which she's a lawmaker.
I've seen. That's the only time I've seen them do it, is when they're actually getting pushed up against or blocked.
Yep. So
she's an interesting cat for me, because, I've heard her talk about how she starts speeches. We live on, people live here on stolen land. So she considers the stolen, although it was sold to the American people by the tribes, she considers it stolen land. But then at the same time, she's advocating for people from other countries to come here and live on this stolen land.
Right.
And then that's the thing that just bothers me, is like, why do you say one thing and say the other? They're contradictory. Now, I don't want illegal aliens or illegal nationals in our country, in our state, or on the reservations. And I don't know why she would be advocating for any of that, especially with her stance is this is stolen land. This should be the last thing she wants, is more people from other countries coming to this land. But she advocates for that. Make that make sense to me.
Yeah, and then the more people here, the less funding she has to do with the people that belong here, or the people she's trying to actually help. I don't know. I have no idea who she's helping anymore. It's not Americans, but it's like,
doesn't seem like it.
You're trying to fund people that don't belong here, so you're taking away money from the local school kids.
Yeah, and the citizens.
Yeah, and the citizens. That makes zero sense.
And if you're listening, if you work, you're working for them. Your product of your work doesn't go to you or your family, it goes to them. Why is that fair? I mean, it's one thing to advocate for things that don't affect other people. Like
Right.
if you're advocating for a charity and the charity gets scammed, that's the people who contributed to the charity. But this is forced labor on our part to provide you with goods that you then turn around and give to people that don't live here, aren't from here, aren't contributing.
Right.
And I don't understand the argument for it. We have another rep, Brad Tabke. He's a Minnesota Democrat whose district saw illegal alien behead a woman. I hadn't heard about that.
No.
Calls immigration enforcement a farce. ICE does not make our communities safer, he said. Well, really? Are you sure about that? Because it seems like they do if they're getting rid of people who, I don't know, behead other people.
Yeah, that would make Minnesota more safe.
Yes,
Get rid of those people.
you would think.
Yeah. If I knew my neighbor was beheading people and he had to leave the country, yeah, that'd be safer.
It seems
I thought.
logical, at least.
Yeah.
Enough of those fools. Minnesota cities are facing the biggest property tax hikes. Duluth, 4.8%. Proctor, 7%. Hermantown, 10%, 10.3%. Holy snikes. And that's on top of the St. Louis County, which is at 12.4%. Add on the Family Leave Act, and you're paying 0.44% of your payroll to the government for that as well. So welcome to Minnesota. Thank you for your money.
Yeah, you can see the chart in the upper right-hand corner of the article that shows, from 2000, basically, how the levies increase every single year. And you'll be able to get the article in the comments, but it has every city in the state. But it just shows, and that's just the average. They just percentage-wise taking more of your money, and then the Family Leave Act, and then increase your unemployment insurance, and increase your electric bills, and increase your property taxes, and we can go on and go on and go on that.
Well, they're going to increase the minimum wage here. That's the next story.
Yeah.
To $11.41 an hour. St. Paul requires $15.97. Minneapolis, $15.97. So I don't know why people have ever supported minimum wage. First of all, it's the government telling businesses how much they have to pay people, which is, I don't know how that's constitutional.
Right.
Number two, why do you think that that's going to give you more money in your pocket? As soon as that's the minimum, everything raises up. It just increases inflation. So you're not getting anything. As you may think, why don't we make it $50 an hour? That'll solve all the housing crisis, right? Because everybody will be able to afford a house then. No, it'll just make everything go up to the point where it's the same kind of money that you make. But do you know who does make money on it? The government. They are the only winners out of this whole thing, because now they've increased their payroll taxes, and now inflation has gone up, and they're getting a percentage out of everything that's goods sold and bought. So, hey, no wonder the government wants to do it, because like I've said before, why aren't they solving the problems that are facing us? They are. The problems that they're solving are, how do I get reelected so I can stay in this cash cow? So that's the problem they're solving. They solve problems. It's just not the problems you think they should be solving.
And Elon Musk had an example that kind of explains everything. He goes, you have one rich guy, he has $500. So you take that $500 from him and you give it $100 to 5 other people. You've lost 1 vote.
Yeah.
But you've created 5 more.
Right.
And that's what they're doing. Is you have one business owner, but he has all these employees that are now making almost $16 an hour for nothing.
Look at SNAP benefits. 44 million people on SNAP benefits. That's over 10% of the country. I don't know. The problem is that, sure, it sounds good to you if you're getting it, so you'll vote for this. but it collapses after a while. Then you're really out of luck because there is no safety net then.
Right.
You think these billionaires that are in Congress and the Senate are going to stick around when the fall comes? They're not going to be here. They're going to be safe. They're going to have their security team wherever they're going to be hunkered down. It's going to be, you're going to take it. You're going to take the brunt. The more you erode this system, the worse it's going to be for you. And people don't understand that.
Yeah. And as an example, look at New York right now. The rich people who are going to get stung the worst are leaving New York.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's just not worth it for them to pay all these taxes that nobody else is. So
that's why they're trying to not only do that, they're trying to retroactively go tax people for it. For, if you leave the state, we're going to tax you for that too. They really just want to just hammer all the money they can out of people. What happens when that runs out though? What's going to happen? Yeah. All right. Should we move on to Tubby Tim Walz?
Comedy news?
Not really. So remember the No Kings rallies? You remember when the old people were up at the Copper Top Church and,
Yeah, for their arts and crafts show, yeah.
Their daily activity.
Yeah.
Well, Tim Walz has had enough. He can't get anybody to agree with him on his crazy gun laws. So he just signed an executive order thinking that he has the power to do this. And number two, thinking it's constitutional. And what I'd like is for when this gets knocked down as being unconstitutional, that he personally, as an executive order, so he's unilaterally doing this, personally has to pay for this out of his pocket, all the legal battles, everything that has to happen now, because it's going to be a massive waste of time. It's clearly unconstitutional, so it's not going to hold, and it's going to just waste time and money. And I want him to be personally responsible for that because this is his decision to do this. He can't even bring a house and say he couldn't even do it when they had a trifecta to get this stuff through. So then he just, I'm gonna do it myself. King. I thought we didn't have kings in this city or in this country.
Yeah. So where's the protesters now?
Right. Yeah. Well, maybe they will. Like a king. Yeah. They should protest it. If they protested this, I would give them a lot of credit. At least they're consistent. If they're they're going against Trump for it, they should go against him for this. And the difference is you got the president who's been elected, the only office that people elect, everybody in the country elects. And you got this governor of the state. He's got a 49% or a 51% vote here. There's so many Republicans that don't agree with what he's doing, but he just stomps all over them.
Yeah, and then the next thing is he's a tried and true Democrat. Why aren't they banning knives?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, Rob Reiner was a huge against the Second Amendment, against anyone having guns. He was killed with a knife. So why aren't we getting rid of knives? Why is our governor focused on guns when knives are the problem?
Yeah. Good question.
You don't hear anything about banning knives.
The funny thing is, in England, you do.
Right.
So they've gotten to the point now where they've banned samurai swords and kitchen knives. They're going to put an extra charge on kitchen knives. We talked about this a couple of weeks ago. So it just cascades to the next thing that people use to murder other people.
Yeah.
And you can't stop it. People have been doing this our whole lives. Since Cain and Abel, baby, with a rock.
Yeah.
Ban those rocks.
Yeah.
Oh, I want to talk about some fraud stuff. Seems to be we have to do this every week. 3 top-ranking Minnesota Democrats all have direct ties to the Somalian fraud ring, stealing tens of millions of dollars. And this is Ilhan Omar, Keith Ellison, Tim Walz. And this is from Fox News down in the cities. So I can't wait to see this guy get thrown in jail. I'd like to see him perp walked, actually, Tim Walz, if he's involved with this. Now, my personal thought is he's just incompetent, or he let it happen. He just turned a blind eye. I don't think he's actually literally involved with it. He's too busy getting Chinese people in here to run our stuff and sell them secrets. He's not doing this with Somalians. I don't think. He's just turning a blind eye and letting it happen.
Well, I was kind of thinking, is this his kind of backdoor reparations?
Reparations to who, though? They're not from here. I mean,
no, but to the Somali community. You come here, you vote for me, and then we'll basically turn a blind eye as you steal from us.
The payola?
Yeah,
maybe. Yeah, very well.
I mean, that's a conspiracy theory, but maybe,
Well, look at Frey. Look how much he's just bending over to the Somalians in the city because he knows he needs their vote.
Right.
It's sad. It's really sad to see that. And I don't know why other people other than the Somali community even support him. He's clearly will do whatever he has to do to stay in office. And if that means throwing you all under the bus, that's what he's going to do.
Yeah, as long as you don't matter, as long as the Somalis don't matter in a voting area anymore, they're gone.
Yeah.
That's the end of it.
This is the consequence and the reason they were imported from a country and put in a high concentration in a small area so that they could take over that area. And this is Barack Obama's administration doing this. Amy Klobuchar was involved with it. And so Walz, our next story is Walz sees all this fraud. And if you look at the Feeding Our Future fraud, it was like 60 some Somalians that have been convicted so far. I'm not trying to pick on them because I don't like them. I'm picking on them because they're involved with the fraud.
Yep.
So Walz's his answer is, well, it's white men. That's who it is. Because that's his favorite target. He can pick on them and they can't do anything about it. And at least he's consistent, I'll tell you that. He's constantly blaming other people for his mistakes and his failures. And so
it's all has to do with voting. So, he knows that if he panders to the Somalian community and the minorities, that they'll vote for him, make sure that he keeps them on the welfare and
he gets votes.
Yep.
Problem solving.
And he thinks he's problem solving, but realistically he's just lining his pockets basically. So,
well, I told you what the problem is. I need to get elected again. That's the problem he's solving.
That's just, yep.
There's nothing to do with Minnesota citizens, United States, nothing. He doesn't care about any of that. Ilhan Omar is right there with him. Keith Ellison's right there with him. Interesting thing. They were talking about how, and I'll go to the next one first. Minnesota's fraud scandal was shockingly easy to pull off. And it's likely worse than reported. And the reason is, and I'll go back to the previous one, it's because people were so afraid of being labeled as racist that they allowed this fraud to happen. They wouldn't ask questions. They wouldn't rock the boat. They wouldn't point things out because they didn't want to be called racist. That's a massive, massive problem. If you're afraid of doing your job because of what somebody may call you, you should not be in that job.
Right.
And Walz has now appointed a fraud czar. So this is the wrong story, but he's appointed a fraud czar to go over the welfare scandals. And here's my take on that. It's too little, too late. I don't trust somebody that Tim Walz appoints to look into fraud that Tim Walz is being accused of. Right. I don't think they're going to be actually doing anything about it.
Other than protecting Governor Walz.
Exactly. And any of his cronies. So my guess is you will not see any kind of investigation being done or anybody in his administration being found guilty. What you will find is they will find the Republicans probably that they want to hold guilty or get out of office, or Democrats that aren't towing the line, and they're going to be the ones that are being held responsible for this. The best part about this, though, is that's not the intent of this. The intent is not to look into the fraud. It's to find out ways to prevent it in the future.
Right.
Maybe some of that is when somebody comes up with an organization saying they're feeding people, you actually investigate that organization because they were giving addresses of places that didn't exist. There was nothing on the land. So and they weren't being found out. So hold the people that were in charge responsible. They should be fired at best. That should be the nicest thing that happens to them. They should be spending jail time if they were involved with it. And number two, get some competent people that will actually check on it. Make it harder to get this money and stop giving out so much money. And don't give it to any immigrants whatsoever, illegal or otherwise. You shouldn't come to this country and go on welfare. It shouldn't happen. If that's the case, go back to your country.
And let's tie this back into his I'm the king Walz gun shooting, gun laws. That's a distraction. He's trying to do something controversial to distract you from seeing that he is the king of frauds.
That's true. It's just that shiny ball he rolls across every time.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if abortion rights come up pretty soon, right? That'll be the next thing. They love doing that because that just gets people fired up. Absolutely. Every election, they'll talk about abortion rights. So you can expect to see that in the next couple of months.
Yeah. As soon as the election starts coming around and he needs to distract from the fraud and all those other problems, that'll be brought up next.
Yes.
So.
The Trump administration is formally demanding the resignation of Governor Tim Walz due to the massive fraud and dereliction of duty. Linda McMahon caught Minnesota engaging in massive educational fraud where ghost students received millions of taxpayer dollars and pocketed the cash. So there you go. It just keeps getting better and better. Do you ever wonder why you work all day Monday, all day Tuesday, and most of Wednesday for the government? It's because they need to pay for things like this.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, and here's another good one. Minnesota is currently paying an indicted Somali fraudster to run the assisted living homes. So they're still paying him. He's indicted. Minnesota's still paying him. Gotta love it.
Yeah, and I seen something on Facebook that was talking about this lady, and she was making $700,000 a year.
It's unbelievable
for a nonprofit.
Yeah,
so for a nonprofit, it's like I haven't verified that it's true yet. That's why it's not on our story list. But it's like no nonprofit should make that kind of money for the CEO. Just flat out no.
Yeah, we've talked about it too. I don't like the government setting wages and limits on things, but at the same time, if it's a nonprofit, there should be limits on it. The whole point of the nonprofit is to help people, and that should be limiting to the people that want to work there. And if you're not working there for the money, you're working there for the cause.
Yeah.
So if you're getting those kind of breaks, there should be a limit on it. And I think they should set it at the governor's salary too. You don't get more than the governor of the state gets as far as your salary goes.
Right.
Now, you'll lose a lot of the CEOs because they won't work for chump change like that. But maybe you'll get somebody then that actually wants to do the job and isn't doing it just for the money.
Yeah, either set it to the governors or the median state income.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that'd be good.
So 73,000, I think, is the last number I heard for state median. It's like, well,
I mean, you could do a multiplier of that. If you're a CEO of some big thing, maybe a multiplier of 2 or 2.5, something like that, but nothing much more than that.
Right. Yeah. It's something we'd have to sit down and argue about, but it shouldn't be a nonprofit shouldn't be making just crap tons of money, especially when it's off of other citizens.
Yeah, well, it becomes, instead of a nonprofit for the organization, it's a for-profit for the people that work at it. So it's just it's a big sinkhole of money to them, and that's not the way it's supposed to work in that environment. It's supposed to be for good. And if somebody disagrees with that, please let me know.
Right.
Going on to Minnesota news, I came across this. Edina School said they're going to suspend students if they do not disagree with the immigration policies of the administration. So it threatens to suspend students who talk positively about ICE. So this is Edina, the used to be the rich kids' place. I don't think that's been like that for a while now.
No.
But good luck with that. That's a good way to lose another lawsuit of free speech rights, is to think about that for a second. You're going to punish students for talking positively about laws that have been passed in this country and have been around for a long time. A long time.
Right.
If you listen to Barack Obama, you listen to Bill Clinton, listen to John F. Kennedy, they're all saying the same things about immigration. You can't have illegal immigration. You have to do it in a very controlled way. Otherwise, you don't know what's coming into your country. And you lose, if you have too many immigrants into your country at one time, you will lose what makes your country special. You'll lose your essence of your country. You have to control it. I don't know why people don't see that, though.
Yeah, and of course you talk positive about ICE. They're protecting us. Just like the police are. They're protecting us. You do speak highly of them. They're doing a job that most of us can't do or wouldn't do. You know, they're keeping us, and they're keeping people safe by getting rid of them. So to have your principal come out and say, no, you have to talk bad about them, otherwise that's so stupid. That's ignorance beyond ignorance.
They're enforcing laws that weren't controversial until the Democrats decided this was a good way to keep them in power so they could do their thing.
Yeah.
Now it's controversial. They don't go against trying to stop them. They don't try to pass laws for it. They just try to circumvent it. That's the best part about having legislators involved with this. They don't go through the process of what they've been elected to do. They circumvent it by trying to dox the people that work there and tell them they're going to be arrested as soon as the next administration comes in. They've said that to them.
Yeah.
400 illegal aliens have been removed by ICE in Minneapolis. That's a good start.
Yeah.
It would be nice if we didn't have to spend our time, resources, and treasure to get rid of people that shouldn't be here in the first place. But it's nice to see that ICE is doing their job. It's got to be a thankless job. You don't want to go into a place, have people, you don't know if they're going to have weapons, they're not going to resist you. You have people screaming at you from the street with no knowledge of what you're doing. I heard this one group was going to, it wasn't ICE, it was some other law enforcement agency, went to go arrest a pedophile, and they came out and acted like they were ICE and they were doxing him, and they finally told them what it was, and they're saying, well, we don't care. It reminds me of Vietnam, when police and soldiers were, people were screaming at them and calling them names and baby killers and all that other stuff. It feels like 70s again with that. We're going to criminalize, we're going to talk down to you and spit on you if you're law enforcement. Just not the way it should be. It's a thankless job. I wouldn't want to do it.
No. It gets tiring as, you have one of the major political parties against keeping America safe, against the laws.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you guys passed half of these laws, back in 96 or something like that. And now when it's because your Trump derangement syndrome is so high that he's for it, you're against it.
Right.
Well, you're passed laws that were for it, and now you're against your own laws that you created.
Yeah, they can't keep it straight.
That's what, get some morals, get some actual values in you and follow them.
Right.
So much easier.
So next one I thought was kind of amusing, actually. The person that recorded George Floyd's incident where he overdosed and the police officer had his knee on his neck. There's a person who recorded that, and that's what went viral. So the Minneapolis Star, or Minnesota Star, the Red Star, as some people like to call it,
yeah,
It's horrible. ICE arrested a Twin Cities strike close to the home of the person that did that recording. I don't know how that became a news item.
Yeah.
When I used to watch football and they'd be on the game and they'd come out with some inane thing, no team last year that's been behind by 7 points where it was a full moon has come back unless they just come up with this huge string of things. Where are you coming from?
Yeah.
How did they even know that? Shocking to me. Shocking.
Yeah. Who cares if it was by his house? Arrest this guy too, because obviously bad things happen around this guy. So just
I guess so. Maybe it's the nexus of evil or something. It's just an observer. Yeah. Many businesses in downtown Minneapolis have remained boarded up since 2020 summer, and business occupancy rates remain down. But through it all, McDonald's has remained open until recently. Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah.
They can't take it either. I mean, they're seeing crime. They're getting homeless people in there. So McDonald's has given up as well. And that's a bad sign, because once McDonald's goes, then nobody's going to go there. They're like the last bastion. People usually can control themselves when it comes to getting food. Even then, it's not working, I guess.
And they wonder why there's food deserts and all this other things. It's because the moron.
Explain what a food desert is.
It's an area that's they've robbed the good people so many times that nobody wants to have their business, grocery store or restaurant business open anymore because they've been ripped off so many times.
Right.
So that creates an area.
Places that they won't open these stores because they lose too much money in that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're wondering why. Well, that's why. I kind of think about it in our downtown Skywalk here, because I just walked the Skywalk the other day, and I like to call that zombie land now, because I came across 6 or 7 people that were clearly mentally disturbed or tweaking out on some sort of drug, and they're hanging out in the Skyway because it was cold out that day. It was like 10 below that day, and nobody's going to open a store in the Skyway if that's the way it's going to be. And
the
police know about it, but they can't do anything about it.
Or they won't. They've been told not to, basically.
There is that too.
So,
hey, remember that people didn't, maybe we didn't cover this, but Ilhan Omar's son was pulled over in a car. And apparently ICE pulled him over and then made him show his papers, just like the Gestapo, just like the Nazi Gestapo. Show us your papers because we're pulling you over because you look like an illegal immigrant. Although it wasn't ICE, and he got pulled over for speeding.
Right.
And asking for his papers were license and registration, right? Like you do when you get stopped.
Of course it's not true, because ICE doesn't pull people over for speeding and ask for their papers.
Right.
I mean, if she lies all the time, you'd think she'd get better at it. Same with Hillary Clinton. Hillary lies nonstop. You think at one point she'd actually learn how to do it properly.
You would think.
But no.
And everything you say is a lie. I mean, it just gets so weird that you probably don't even know what you're saying is true or not. Right.
And now Omar's doing the same thing because it's easy for her she needs to be the victim, and she needs to be her victim. She wasn't getting enough attention, so we'll make up this story.
All people have to do is hear it. They just have to hear it, and they believe it. And then once you hear it, it gets in your head. And then they just believe that that's what happened. So I'm guessing if I walked up to somebody who'd heard about this story, hey, did you hear that ICE pulled over Ilhan Omar's son? Oh, yeah. Isn't that horrible?
Right.
They won't fact check it, and they don't care about the truth. this made them feel vindicated. So that's what they wanted, that's what they want.
Yeah. So now they can create their stories and hold their, do their arts and crafts shows down on Superior Street
Right.
or in front of Stauber's office because they don't know what the truth is. And they're not going to research the truth. And
they pull up the next link. So this is in New York. And this is something we talked about in Minnesota. They were trying to do this, but they were very gleeful because they've secured $9 billion from Hyundai and Kia for failing to protect their cars from theft. So they did this in Minneapolis too.
right.
These cars were apparently quote unquote easy to steal, so people were stealing them. So what you do is you punish the car companies. You're not up to our standards of what we think you should do to secure your cars, as opposed to, I don't know, punishing the people that are stealing cars so they don't do it. And that's the benefit of living in a high trust society, is being able to, you should be able to have your keys in your car, right?
Yeah.
In the old days, people used to put them in their visor. There's places still in Minnesota when I was looking for work way up north, they didn't lock their front doors. They didn't lock their cars. They just had the keys in the car. That's a high trust society.
Yeah.
You lose that when you've got these morons that think they are entitled to your stuff, which is what the politicians are all telling them. And then they don't get punished if they do it. No cashless bail. You're out the same day. So even if you get stopped, which the cops can't chase you, even if you got caught somehow and they arrested you, you get brought in, booked, walked out. And you probably won't face any charges under Bloody Mary Moriarty down in Hennepin County.
Right. Yeah, because I've heard plenty of stories of kids stealing cars 2 times in the day and getting caught twice in one day. They steal a car, get caught, go in front of a judge lets them go.
Right.
They go steal another car.
Yeah.
The cops are doing their job. The cops don't have time to be arresting the same kid 10 times a day. So it doesn't make any sense that, and Mary Moriarty is also doing that for serious crime too.
Sorry about that. I glanced across a button on my mouse and I jumped out of the studio.
Don't look at your mouse. Don't look directly at your mouse. That's the problem.
Do not taunt your mouse. Yeah, so they're happy because they did what politicians do. They went against the people who have the money. And so what's it going to get them? So now it's $9 million. What are they going to do with that? How is that going to help the problem?
Well, that was I was wondering, because I seen that judgment and I seen another judgment for something else, and the state gets tens of millions of dollars, but the victims get nothing.
Nothing. It's the perfect political plan.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense at all. We're going to profit off of your victimhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
Something got screwed up for the next one, but there's a guy who is a media guy. I think he's an anchor on one of the news organizations, and he was talking about kids are under attack. Our sacred rule of law is under attack. Journalism is under attack. And he's saying this free speech is under attack. And then he talked about how I wonder if I reorganize this somehow weirdly.
Oh, that was that CNN guy.
Yeah, right. So then he's saying all this, and then he says, and we're redefining words. He never gives an example of anything he's talking about. He just makes a speech. And I was thinking about definitions of words, and I thought about the word vaccination and how that got redefined recently in the last 5 years. And racism, how that's gotten redefined over the years. So, and he's speaking at a university publicly. He doesn't get pulled off. So what he's talking about is completely opposite of what he's doing. He's talking about how you don't have free speech, you can't say anything you want, and then he does it, and there's no ramifications, which there shouldn't be. So I thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, someone in the media complaining about lack of freedom of speech when he goes on and says lies almost every single day.
Yeah, sacred rule of law is under attack. What? How? Please provide evidence. He can't.
No, he's a typical. I say it, therefore it's true.
Right. Let's see if I've not screwed this up. I'll go down to the next one. Let's see. Is the next one violent left?
Yeah, after her. Yeah.
So this is that shooting that happened where, this thing is such a mess. We could talk about it a little bit, but it's so convoluted. This is a school shooting where it looks like there was a girl who was in the Republican Party or Conservative Party. It's a very small thing at this very liberal school. And it looks like she was targeted. Like that guy looked for her and then shot her in the face. Like that was the intent of this whole thing.
Right.
For doing nothing more than talking, kind of like Charlie Kirk, kind of like JFK, kind of like Martin Luther King. So it's just, but that university has like 600 cameras. And the best they could do was get an image of somebody that you could say, well, it's somebody who has legs. That's the best we can do.
Right.
From a distance, you could see them walking and they're wearing black. You couldn't tell anything about them. The worst part is,
and that was from the the Ring videos, not their videos.
Really? Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's something wrong, but this is one of the problems with disarming citizens. They say that the police are there to protect you, but they're not. They showed up there. They wouldn't go in. They're there as a cleanup crew at best. You have to be able to defend yourself. I'm watching Longmire. There's a great episode where this woman was trying to frame this guy, and the sheriff figured it out. And the guy was a bad guy. He beat people. Like he didn't kill them, but if he figured you needed justice, he would go and beat these people up really bad. And she tried to frame this guy for a murder. And, the guy knew it and the sheriff knew it, but he couldn't prove it. He was talking to the woman and he said, okay, what you're going to have to feel, right, is he could come around at any time. And she goes, and it's your job to protect me. He goes, you're absolutely right. That is my job. And if he shows up here, I'm a phone call and a 15-minute drive away. And the next scene was her admitting her guilt and going to jail. You realize that 15 minutes?
Yeah.
That's 13 minutes too long. Even it's 14 minutes, 30 seconds too long when somebody really shows up.
Right.
Taking away lawful citizens' rights to defend themselves does not make you safer. Guarantee you that right now. And that's the thing you see in Bondi Beach out in the UK or out in Australia, the same thing. Having a bunch of disarmed people getting shot at does nothing but have a bunch of dead people. That's the truth.
And the one thing I heard about the Brown University incident, was out of the 10,000 approximate students at Brown University, 40 of them are Republicans.
You're right. That's a very small minority.
So how did he know exactly where this lady was, who was part of the TPUSA program, the Charlie Kirk's things? How did he know? Why did specifically that she was the first one shot?
Right.
Because there's so many conspiracy theories going on with this. The police aren't telling the public what to look for, what's going on with there's so many, and they won't let the FBI in. They've already been caught scrubbing information off the internet on who they think it is.
Right.
There is so much wrong going on. It's almost as if they wanted it to happen.
Or they certainly don't mind that it did.
Correct. 5 days later, we still don't even have a clue of what's going on. So,
Okay, we're going to take some sharp turns here. We're going to talk about stuff that has nothing to do with anything we've talked about up to this point. Illinois assisted suicide is coming. The governor has signed a law welcoming the state sanctioned suicide to Illinois, much like it happens in Canada. And so when I was running last year, somebody sent me a questionnaire about assisted suicide and suicide in general and all this other stuff, which I'm saying this word and it's probably going to get us, banned from YouTube, but I'll say it anyway. And one of the questions was, would you propose a law or would you sign on to a law that completely banned assisted suicide? And my answer was no, I wouldn't, because I think there may be some very extreme circumstances where that should be allowed. But I'm talking about extremely rare, like probably never even happens, or maybe once. Having seen what happened in Canada, having seen what they're pushing here, I've adjusted. I will say yes. I will completely ban it because all they need is this little toehold into this, and they just keep expanding things. So look at Canada. I heard of a woman who was a veteran who needed a walker and wasn't getting it because, the state gives you things like that.
Right.
And so she called up to find out about it, and they said, wow, that seems tough. Have you thought about suicide? What an odd thing to say to a person who just needs a walker.
Right.
So, and then in Canada, they even allow people with depression to get it, to do it. And kids too, I believe. So go to Illinois. Maybe that's just going to Illinois and taking $100 bill and walking downtown. I mean, there's assisted suicide right there.
Right. Well, they're going to be the murder capital of the world now that, between that and basically abortions at will.
Oh, yeah. They can't get them fast enough.
Right. That's killing everyone as quick as you can, basically. So.
All right. I'm going to go to the next one. And like I said, sharp turn again. NGOs. What's an NGO? Non-government organization. Have $14 trillion in assets. 14 trillion in non-government organizations. We need to stop this. Cut that spigot off. In fact, it seems like we should take that money back.
Correct.
I think that goes a long way to solving our national deficit or debt, not deficit, the debt. That would almost half it right there.
It doesn't make any sense how they became that rich. So
no, it does not. A new one. Here's another New York one. A new 1 mile per hour speed limit penalty comes to full force. So what's happening is they're warning people that there is zero tolerance coming up, and it's going to be a lot of money for you. So this is a way for the government to build their coffers because they can fine you and they can make you have to take these classes and lose access to things. And it's just a cheap way to make everybody criminal. 1 mile an hour over the speed limit, and they will go after you.
Just a money grab. Just like the cameras, the speed cameras down in Minneapolis that they've already been deemed illegal.
Yeah.
Unconstitutional. Right. But they put them up anyways, and people will pay them.
Right. They had to pay back a lot of people with that, the red light cameras.
Yeah.
I remember that.
And that's why they ruled them unconstitutional, but they did them anyways. So.
Yep. And then, who it is that's passing these laws? People that have drivers. They don't care. These government officials in New York, they have a lot of them have drivers. It's nice to be able to drive on a road and just never know when you're just going to get nailed for the smallest infraction. Right. I went down a hill and I went 1 mile over the speed limit, and here comes a cop to give me a ticket. This craziness. Okay. International news. Don't have a lot here. but we got some interesting things. An Orwellian news. A street preacher appeals to conviction for misgendering a man who identifies as a woman. So he was on the street preaching gospel, and he basically said, "You're a man like me." And people in the crowd were saying, "That's a woman." He said, "No, he's a man like me." And you better subscribe.
Yeah.
So they put him in jail. It's craziness over in the UK.
Yeah, why do you can't even speak over there anymore? It's not even.
Well, it's worse than that. They arrested that woman for standing silently outside of an abortion clinic. She wasn't even talking.
Right, but she was praying though.
To herself.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, praying silently in her head, not saying it out loud, not trying to stop anybody. They threw her in jail too. Here's one that is kind of a national, international news that you had on there. The Trump administration has rolled back the fuel economy standards. So have you read this one?
Briefly, yeah. Yeah, because Joe Biden put into effect it's called CAFE standards, corporate average fuel economy. So trying to make cars more efficient. Well, he put them in so harsh that basically there was no way a company like GM or Ford was going to be able to accomplish that unless they went 90% electric cars.
Right.
And that's basically what they wanted. They want everything electric so they can control you, shut you
Not
off.
electric, battery powered. I wish people got to understand that this is not an electric car. You don't have a plug into it. This is a battery powered, like a easy go golf cart.
Correct. But they wanted control over it. So that's why they even passed a law. So in the next 5-10 years, your Ford pickup with a gas motor, they'll be able to shut that off when they need to.
Oh yeah.
So Trump finally said, okay, enough of this garbage. We'll never be able to do it. So he rolls it back.
And then
the
next news is the EU has dropped their 2035 combustion engine ban because of that.
Yep. Their rule was by 2035, no gas motors could be produced. Well, that's 10 years away, and they're basically going to tell you what kind of motor you can have in your vehicle.
They seem to think that they can tell you just about anything they want.
Yeah, so they pushed it back because finally a real leader like Trump said something. Now they realize it's okay to go backwards or to reverse a law that was so stupid to begin with that it wasn't going to work. We're not set up to. We don't have the technology for it. They're trying to force upon us a technology that may or may not work. And the Europeans have also green-lighted hydrogen cars.
Okay.
So what comes out of the exhaust of a hydrogen car?
Water, right?
Yep, just drinkable water. You can fill your car up in 5 seconds. They put a hydrogen hose on it, boom, fill it up. You're gone 5 seconds later. It's like you're running a NASCAR basically.
Right.
And that doesn't harm the environment. So maybe in 10 years, that's what everybody will be using. So to have a law as stupid as what Joe Biden did or what the EU did is they're finally realizing how stupid it was. And, finally the U.S. has a true leader, not just a president in name only, to lead the world into a less brain dead situation.
The drawback is if you get rear-ended in a hydrogen car, you blow up in a small nuclear explosion. It's a little atom bomb just going off.
Yeah. Well, I think they're working on that too. But
I think they're going to start out with a new Ford Pinto model.
yes, that would be a good place to start. So then the advertising would be all the same.
It's just, remember the old days? Boom.
So right now, things are going the right direction. You can still use your car.
Yay.
Yeah.
All right. End with that. Health and fitness. I just put this in here just to talk about this because the evidence is clear. Masks do nothing. So if you're thinking about throwing a mask on, I don't think it does nothing. I think it does very little. If you are sick and you wear a mask and you sneeze, it prevents a lot of it from going out, but it still goes out. And if you can see it in that fine mist that comes out through the mask. I had conversations with people about this too, and I was like, have you ever walked past somebody who's smoking while you're wearing your mask? Yeah. Could you smell the smoke? Well, yeah. So do you understand why that's a problem? Well, viruses are different. They are different. They're smaller than smoke particles.
Right.
They get in easier. So you may think you're doing well. It could be harmful. You're getting all that air coming back into your, all that vapor coming back into your lungs. So that could be a bad thing, actually. And if you don't clean your mask properly or you don't use a new one, you're going to get that old, what is that, mold or something like that happening to people.
Oh, right. Yep.
So
they will mold up. Yep. Yeah. Just if you go by any construction site, especially like sheetrock, they pull their N95 masks off and their whole face is still covered.
Right.
And that's what we were told. That's what Dr. Fauci was telling us. We should be wearing the N95.
Yeah. He was great. You can wear a mask, but it won't help you. He said that at the very beginning of it. You can wear two. It won't do anything. And then he flipped it completely on edge. You must wear a mask.
Yep. Even though when he was caught at the baseball game with his family not wearing a mask.
Yeah. Well, I like the fact that they had lines. If you saw lines of people, if they had like a teller system and you had 3 tellers, they'd have the people standing 6 feet behind each other, but they'd be 1 foot next to each other. So the beginning of the line would be here. They'd both be standing next to each other, but then the person back would be 6 feet back. These 2 people were standing right next to each other. So
right.
Get that. But just like anything else, we bring up the health and fitness because people really should, concentrate on their health through their whole lives. Right. Do as what you can. Even if you're old and you can't do much, try to do something. Try to get out. If you're young, please do something. I can't tell you how many young people I see that are just not in good shape here. And I'm not talking about being an Adonis or a supermodel. I'm just talking about you're really tipping over 350. It's not good for your body. Right. Not good for your knees, your hips, your heart. And I don't want to pay for it either, honestly, with this healthcare stuff. I shouldn't have to worry about your health. I should let you be as fat as possible if you want to, but I don't want to pay for it.
Right. And that's my conspiracy theory. What Obamacare was all about was, so I have to worry about what you do.
Exactly. I want to give you the courtesy of not caring what you do. If you want to be a slovenly person who puts on 600 pounds and you're paying for it, I think that's your freedom to do it. I don't suggest it. I would, if I was your friend, I would try to advise you against it. I wouldn't say anybody should do that. But that's what freedom is doing stuff that other people don't necessarily like or approve of and still being able to do it anyway.
Right.
All right. We'll end up here with the word of the day. I came up with this one today. I really like this one because I didn't really know the definition behind it. So the word of the day is gerrymander. So gerrymandering was highlighted as a prominent political word in 2025, referring to the practice of dividing a state or district into electoral units in a way that gives one political party an unfair advantage. The word originates, this is the interesting part, from Elbridge Gerry, Gerry, who, as governor of Massachusetts in the early 1800s, redrew voting districts in a manner that benefited his party, resulting in oddly shaped districts, one of which resembled a salamander, prompting the coining of the term gerrymandering. It's like a salamander, gerrymandering. And this term has gained renewed attention in 2025 due to the frequent uses of it. I mean, if you look at places in the state, you'll see it too, but you'll really see it in places like Illinois, and other places like Texas. I see it too, where you're selectively, I mean, you just look at this map and it's just this carved out weird thing where you'd think it would be just half and half, or kind of half and kind of in and out because you got different populations. But what you got is a small section here because that's going to get you your political party. And as soon as you get enough of your political party in, you can start roller coastering this whole thing. So,
which makes you really wonder about how they know this information to create the lines that way.
Well, you got the precinct voting. I mean, it's pretty easy. You just go, you get all these precincts around and you see how they vote. And you're like, okay, that's 70% Republican, but this one next to it is 70% Democrat. And there's twice as many people there. So we're going to put those two together so the Republicans will never win a seat.
So we need to get rid of voting districts then too, so that the politicians can't figure out where these lines are supposed to be made.
It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, is there a reason that we have to have these designated places where you can only go to vote, whereas opposed to having like a centralized location where everybody comes in to vote? I never thought about that, but that's a good point.
Because we talked about that last week about, I think there was some city out east that wanted to only give business loans to minorities. So it's like, well, how do you know? Why do you have records on business owners that are minorities?
Right.
Or even in Duluth, why do you have records on the LGBT owners of stores?
Right.
How would you even know that? Why
would you know it?
Yeah, why would you know it? Why are you keeping track of that? Why is there information out there that you're keeping track of that in that type of stuff?
Right. It's like, yeah, we have a directory of people with green eyes. Why would you have information like that? That doesn't make any sense. You're right. The same way. What do I care who this person dates and the state of their business? Or what gender they are, really. I mean, you really shouldn't care about who owns the business. Is the business good or not?
Right. And your sex life. So they want the city needs to know your sex life as far as to give you a business loan or not. I
guess. And they give preferential treatment to it.
Right.
Which is completely against what your government should be about.
Yeah. There should be, as far as political lines, you just take you draw a bunch of squares on there and that's the lines.
Right.
And that's it. But no, they're, like you said, going around, drawing from one side of the road to the other side of the road. And you can only vote in this so we can keep track of you.
Right.
That's just information the government shouldn't be having.
Exactly. Right. They don't need it. They shouldn't use it. It should be completely colorblind, completely everything blind, and just do your job to take care of the streets and the firefighters and the policemen. Leave everything else to us. Let us take care of it. You work for us. Let us do our job. You do your job.
Yeah. So from now on, your voting district is going to be just around your house. That's your voting district.
Yeah, I like that.
So, when the district comes out and we know exactly, we don't actually know that that's the way you voted, but everyone at your address.
Right. Everybody at my address. I may not win still. All right, let's get Holiday here. He's Christmas season.
Oh yeah, look
Everybody
at
go
that.
out and enjoy your Christmas. We will be back in a couple weeks. I'm trying to find the Santa. There we go. Beach Santa's here to say
Oh,
aloha. Enjoy your Christmas, your New Year's. We will be back here in a couple weeks. We're going to take the next 2 weeks off. We'll be here in 3 weeks back again to give you the latest news. We'll be cheery. We'll be happy. I'm sure that'll happen.
I'm sure nothing really important is going to happen by then, anyways. So.
Nah, it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Anything else, Dave? Or are we good to go?
Yeah, we got to get home before the blizzard
Yeah, I suppose.
locks us in. So.
All right. Everybody stay safe. Have a good Christmas, and we will see you in 2026. Thanks for joining us.